Today's Talk About It Tuesday question is President Trump created an IRA for kids that the government seeds with $1,000. How does the Trump account compare to the 529 savings plan that already exists? Which one's a better plan after 20 years? So, this is a great question for anyone who has children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, or any child that you want to help out and give a financial boost to. I've already done a very in-depth video on the 529 savings plan. Please look that up. Uh, so I'll start with the Trump account, and then we'll compare the two and see which one is a better plan for you. So what they're calling the Trump account is actually technically called the 530A account. Um, of course, since it's been done during his administration, they're calling it the Trump account. So let's just look at the different aspects of the Trump account. So first, who's eligible for investing in the Trump account? It has to be, the beneficiary has to be, can be any child under the age of 18. So any U.S. citizen under the age of 18 is eligible for the Trump account. Everyone is not eligible for the $1,000 seed money, and it's very important that you understand that. This $1,000 seed money is for any child who was born between January 1st, 2025, and will be born up to, right? Any child who will be born up to December 31st, 2028. So it's really just during the administration. So although any child under the age of 18 is eligible, only children within that window get the seed money, and that's important. So we'll just assume for the purposes of this video, the child is eligible for the seed money. But let's move forward. So you can contribute up to $5,000 a year to this account. What does it invest in? It invests in large cap US stocks in an index fund or an ETF. So the things that it invests in are very limited, potentially high payout, but also extremely high risk, because you're talking about not the entire S&P 500, but only the large cap, the big companies that really sit at the top of the S&P 500. So potential for high returns, but potential for very high risk, where you can lose a lot because it's not very well diversified. And then, over 20 years, the economy will go up and down. There are no permitted withdrawals until the beneficiary is 18. And when the child turns 18, the beneficiary, the money goes to them, and they must roll it over into a regular IRA or a Roth IRA, and they cannot touch that until they're 59 and a half, again, without penalty. So if under 18, money is withdrawn, 10% penalty plus ordinary income tax rate, which is earned income tax rate. The same thing applies when they turn 18 and it rolls over to them. It rolls over into a Roth IRA or a regular IRA, but again, they cannot touch that money without penalty until they're 59 and a half. The only exceptions are that they can withdraw at 18 for education or up to $10,000 down payment on a first home. So those are the only exceptions. Education or $10,000 down payment for a first home. Those are the basic, I guess, factors or things that you would look at in terms of what it is. So now let's compare it to the 529, which again has already existed for quite some time. So the 529, who's eligible? Anybody's eligible. So it doesn't just have to be a child. Most people think it's a child because people use it for children, but you could actually be the beneficiary yourself and use it for education. Um, Now, 529 is specifically designed for education. And let me go back. The 530A is not designed for education, it's designed for your child's retirement. That's why they have to hold it until they're 59 and a half. So they're looking at this as they're seeding somebody's retirement at 59 and a half, but you can use it for education, or you can use it for a down payment on a house, small amounts. And that too, though, is taxed. So the 530 is a tax deferred account. You will pay taxes on it when you pull it out. So if you pull it out before 59 and a half, 10% plus ordinary tax, unless you use it for education or a down payment where still gets taxed, but at the ordinary rate. And then at 59 and a half, you can pull it out without the penalty, but at the ordinary tax rate. So again, the 529 is not really designed for the longer term. It's designed for education. So the contribution is twice as much. You can put in $10,000 a year. Who is eligible? Like I said, anybody is eligible. It doesn't have to just be a child. It can be an adult. It can be anybody who wants to fund education. Um, what else? It invests in a very broad, you have very broad options and very diversified options to invest in. And you can change those investments as you get closer to the time you need it to less risky things. So also, it is not tax deferred, it is tax free if you use it for educational purposes. And what's education? It can be college, it can be trade school, it can be certain apprenticeships, it can be educational materials, technology. So there's a broad range of what education is considered. And so you can use it for those things tax free. You do not get the seed money from the federal government. Some states do offer seed money. But again, this is tax free, not tax deferred. If you do pull it out for non-educational purposes, there is a penalty and taxes. But as long as you use it for educational purposes, it's not. If you whatever you don't use, or if you don't use it at all, you can avoid the taxes by having a new beneficiary who's a family member, or you can roll over up to $35,000 of that money into a IRA, a traditional IRA. So for educational purposes, 529 tax-free, higher contribution per year, broad usage, diversified portfolio to mitigate the risk. So when we look at it from an educational perspective, if you're just using for education, the 529 is far better. But let's compare them number to number. So if we use 20 years, which is what the person asked, 20 years side by side, and let's say we use the same contribution, not the maximum contribution to each. Let's just say the child was eligible for the $1,000. You do $200 a month at a modest 8% return annually for 20 years. In the Trump account, you're going to end up with $120,000. If we move over to the 529, same conservative 8%, same $200 a month, minus the $1,000 seed money, you end up with $118,000. So it looks like by a small amount that the Trump account wins, except this is tax free. The 529 is tax free. When you pull out that 120, you have to pay your ordinary, or because it's before 59 and a half. If you withdraw that money, you're going to pay a 10% fee off the top and taxes in addition to that. So it does not win against that for education. So it boils down to what your goals are, right? The 529 is not designed for retirement. It's not designed for you to use it for, a long period of time. It's used for education. And the Trump account is not really designed for education. It's designed for retirement. So I don't know if you can say which one wins. In 20 years, if you just looked at 20 years side by side, 529 comes out better. But again, it really boils down to what you're trying to use it for. Doesn't mean you need to do one or the other. You can actually do both. You can, if you're eligible for the seed money, you don't even have to contribute anymore. Just take the seed money and let it do what it does until you're 59 and a half. But if, to me, if you were just looking at retirement for your child, why not just create a trust and invest in whatever you want to inside the trust and then have that money for them when they're 59 and a half or whatever age you feel is appropriate or whatever conditions you feel are appropriate. And so the money's not tied up and locked into an IRA that only invests in large cap index funds. I would think if you're only doing it for retirement, you set up a trust and invest in what you want for them. And if you're only doing it for education, then the 529 outperforms the Trump account. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on it, but please like, share, subscribe, keep the questions coming, and I'll see you next Tuesday.